This is how we're used to seeing Carlos Alcaraz. Winning on the court, long flowing hair, he's a fan favorite.
No spots.
Now he's doing the big chop, and he's talking about it with none other than Rory McIlroy. Take a listen.
Everything good, very ready. You like it? Just got a haircut that they struggle with. Okay. I mean, I had to start first.
Yeah, good. I like it. It's good. It's a good look.
So Alcaraz said that his brother cut his hair, did a bad job, so he had to go with the buzz cut. Hairgate aside, though, Alcaraz did take to Arthur Ashe Stadium under the lights last night, and he made quick work of Riley Opelka, 2 hours and 5 minutes to get the win in straight sets. He is now 30-1 over his last 31 matches, 19-0 in Grand Slam opening rounds. Second round, he will face Mattia Bellucci up next. Our next stop is with the one and only Cici Bellis tapped in, coming to us from New York. And Cici, Alcaraz says he wants to be known as a serve bot, but last night I'll say maybe he was serving the looks with that buzz cut. What did you think of his new do, number one, and more importantly, his play and desire to become a great server?
I love it. Yeah, it was definitely a shock, I think, to see him out on the practice courts with a buzz cut. But I mean, listen, he made do. It wasn't a good haircut. Apparently, he needed to chop it all off. So I don't think it affected his play too much. I think going into that first round, kind of a nightmare of a draw for him, honestly, to start his U.S. Open this year, playing against a guy who pretty much gives you no rhythm, plays really streaky. Let alone that Riley's an American playing here in New York with the crowd behind him. He was playing against a huge server, even though he wants to become one, like you said. And playing against a guy like Riley, you can't really work your way into the match like Alcaraz likes to do. Alcaraz likes to play someone who he can have long points, he can work the point, play his patterns, get the short ball, finish it off. Can't do that against a guy like Riley. It's short points. It's never really a feel-good match. But Alcaraz played as well as he could have to start the tournament. Straight sets, like you said, it was one break each set. Didn't do anything flashy. Riley didn't really have a chance, I would say, to take a set off of him. Went out there to do the work, get it done, and did it as efficiently as he could have, especially with that new do.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm not a fan of the haircut, but I'm one to talk, so I don't want to go into it too much. But Opelka's 6'11". When you go up against someone that is just of stature-wise that tall, what type of looks does that present and make it difficult?
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, Riley has one of, if not the biggest serves on tour. So, you have to make sure that, any return that you can get your racket on, you got to make it back into the court because he's going to hit a lot of aces. He's going to get a lot of free points on that serve. So Alcaraz, any player going against someone, that tall with that huge of a weapon on the serve, if you get your racket on it, you got to make it. You got to get into the point. Alcaraz needed to extend those rallies, which he did. He needed to defend. You just really have to be ready to run when you're playing a big guy like that. And of course, going into it, the points are going to be shorter, so it won't be too physical, which I think is a nice way to start his U.S. Open run here. But yeah, did really well overall, defended well, got into the point, extended it when he could, and great win, got out of there in 3 sets.
Yeah, Alcaraz is 6 feet tall, so almost a foot difference of height between the two of them. Before Alcaraz played on Ashe, though, we got to see Venus Williams there. She fought, lost in 3 sets, though, to Karolina Muchova. I feel like it's just hard to be anything but proud of Venus and what she showed last night, though, right?
Absolutely. Overall, I thought it was a really, really high-quality match. I think everyone was kind of wondering, what level she would bring out last night, and I thought she played pretty much as well as she could have. She started her kind of comeback in Washington this year and had an incredible win against Peyton Stearns. I thought she brought that same level, last night. Muchova is such a tough opponent. I think a really difficult matchup, overall for Venus's style, kind of with Muchova's all-court style, the way she mixes it up with her slice, she defends well. Probably, a more tricky matchup, I would say, for Venus, going into that. But yeah, I mean, first set was back and forth. Muchova kind of ran away with it after 3-3, but the second set was just incredible. Venus turned it up. Seemed like, Muchova lost her rhythm a bit, but it was really more on Venus. She started playing closer to the baseline, started taking control of those points. Her serve was incredible. She was hitting her spots. She wasn't letting Muchova play those kind of comfortable patterns that she gets into. And yeah, third set, Muchova got the early break at 1-0. That was pretty much it. Venus looked maybe a little bit tired in the third, a couple more unforced errors, but was also probably kind of an accumulation of the solid tennis for Muchova over the 3 sets. Not an easy match. match for Muhova on the other end as well. I think, a lot of pressure on her, a lot of eyes on that match in general. Playing a legend like Venus at the U.S. Open, especially with the crowd behind her. But, she played really well. Looks like Muhova's finding some good form again, but so much to be proud of for Venus. In the press conference afterwards, she said, the last 3 months she has been, working so hard. She hasn't taken a day off. She said she hasn't even gone out, to a dinner. She hasn't seen friends. And, it showed, after not playing for about a year and a half, coming out and playing a match like that, especially at her age, is really, really impressive. So it was so fun to watch.
Yeah, says it'll be her last match for 2025. We'll wait and see what the future holds for Venus. The future maybe for American tennis continues to potentially be Coco Gauff. She plays tonight on Ash. I'll be honest, Cici, I'm worried about her form, more specifically her serve. Can her new coach, Gavin McMillan, work wonders and fix that serve in a matter of days? Or what should we expect from Coco, because it's just been so dicey lately?
Yeah, listen, even taking a step back, I think, all eyes are going to be on her in New York, as they always are. Won the French this year, lost first round of Wimbledon. She played the Masters 1000 warm-ups in Montreal and Cincinnati, only won a few matches in each, made, round of 16, quarterfinals. So maybe, expected her to do a little bit better kind of on the U.S. hard court swing. I think she does play some of her best tennis here in New York, so I expect her to go far. She's certainly going to have the crowd behind her. I think that helps her a lot, helps her confidence a lot. She's got a tricky opponent today. She's playing Ayla Tomljanovic, who's been known to kind of take out top seeds at majors, although she's been injured, over the last few years. So I think her ranking doesn't really reflect kind of that true level. With the serve, I think, new coach is going to help a little bit. She, played okay. Served okay in kind of the warm-up tournaments, nothing crazy. She's got to keep that double fault count, to a minimum, I would say. She's been working really hard on it, so I expect her to, kind of bring a good level. I think also a big key for her here is really staying confident on that forehand side, using that athleticism to defend when needed. It's weird, on Arthur Ashe, she's going to be playing, all of her matches on that court, I expect. It's such a different environment than the outer courts at the U.S. Open. The court plays a little bit slower. You have obviously this massive stadium. The wind is swirling a little bit in there. So it's kind of different conditions than I would, say the outer courts have, or even the other stadiums. So, she's going to be used to it. Her opponents are likely not going to be as used to it as she is, having gone really far here the last few years. So, serve is I would say the biggest thing for Coco here, the biggest key for her game. Again, bringing on Gavin, I think, was a great, addition, and people have been really excited about that for her, especially with her serve. So I'm going to stay positive. I think it's, I think it's going to help her a lot. I think she's going to bring out a great level, and I'm hoping that it can, that hard work can pay off here.
Yeah, we root for the Americans, root for Coco Gauff, and always root for having Cici Bellis here on The Buzz. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, as always. As the U.S. Open continues with that first-round action, this is the notable first-round matches. Jannik Sinner, that #1 seed at 1 Eastern. Amanda Anisimova, we saw her make a run not too long ago. At 1 Eastern, she'll start. Then there's Coco and Naomi Osaka as well, also getting going at 7 Eastern.